Howdy, stranger, and welcome to the 8th blog in Cowboy Western. Hey everybody, thanks for joining me for the 8th blog now in this Cardboard Western series. So, this is the first one of 2021, so hooray! Thanks everybody for coming along with the journey, and today for me has been chaos. Broke my camera's stand has completely fallen apart, so I'm very unhappy about that. So I'm down to using my webcam for these webisodes, which is very unlike me. But anyway, outside of that, my 3 protagonist shot, or my most complex character shot, has now been completed. So I'm just going to run you through what I was looking at for character design for this particular shot. Here we are in OpenToonz, and this is what, after I was playing with this and thinking about what I needed, my first pass in OpenToonz was all about just getting the basic shape for these 3 characters to be in here. Pretty rough drawings, very roughly done just on the raster layer. I spent about a day getting these characters walking out in the shapes that I sort of wanted them. Now, their particular form and everything was still fairly loose in my head. I just really wanted to get the scale and make sure that their sort of poses fitted into place. Once I'd gone through that and felt like I got this fairly happy, the next thing I went through and did a vector layer for each character. So when designing these characters, there was a couple of things I had in mind. The first one was when I was actually shooting this, I was really making sure that I thought about the shadows, because in this particular shot I really wanted to push them coming out of the shadow into the light, so that they're then addressing their protagonist. The things I was thinking about was, how are the shadows going to work? And for this, I found that it actually worked better if I didn't paint any shadows into these characters when they're in the shadow, because my shadows are not as dark as what the shadows in the image are. So if you look there, especially down on the shoe there's no shadows drawn in this, it's just the outline of the character. Now, the other things I was consciously aware of when I was designing these characters was that they have very clean, simple lines. They're not complex characters, or they're not overly complex characters. With their outlines, they are quite simple. I didn't mind if they were bigger than the paper, like that's with his hat, that's just bigger than the paper, that's fine. Or if his elbows and things go outside of the line of the paper, that was fine. I wasn't worried about that, but as long as they were clean, simple, characterized, and had long enough legs. So I didn't want to put too much detail into them. Just for me, it's time consuming, and the amount of time that I got to work on this, I wanted to keep it minimal. So clean, clear. Eyes were a big thing which I didn't want to have to do much with. So made sure the eyes are not much more than just little slits, and they're in shadow most of the time anyway. So can keep the face shield down, and the mouths were all going to be very separated. So in the key pass, which I've already done, I haven't put any mouths in them, or I've kept the mouths very simple. This main guy who's going to do most of the talking doesn't have much of a mouth. So very simple outline as he comes in, which matches up with the rough sketch which I did to start off with. The rough sketch was underneath, then I did main outline. Main outline's done on a vector layer, and then once I'd done that and got my main character up, I got rid of the outlines which I scribbled and done a tone pass underneath. So with the tone pass, I've only used 3 tones of grey. These 3 guys don't have black in them anywhere. I just want to reserve the black outline for the protagonist, or the key guy. He's going to be black, where these guys are all greys. There's no black on them. And you can see I've just used some solid greys in his belt and in his vest and under his hat for shadows. The other 2 then, very similar process, just stepped through one by one, doing the outline first and then a tone pass underneath. So I kept it really simple. And it's just taken time to build them up, to now having these three guys walk out through the shadows out into the light. Boom. And they're ready for basically being dirtbags. There you go, that's it for the next blog post. Till the next time, I'm still working on the voices.